Joining me now, Congressman District 1. We just heard from Jimmy Petronis singing your praises, buddy, your buddy down there in Pensacola. Uh, Congressional District 1, Savannah, Buddy Carter. Congressman, thanks for being with us. Sorry for the wait.
Problem, no worries. I did hear Jimmy, and I appreciate his kind comments. As he said, we had dinner last night together.
Tell them to give you send a check. I mean, dinner's nice, but
that's right. That's right. When we talked about that.
Money talks, nobody walks. Okay, I was singing your praises yesterday on the Peach Crew. Let me just get this out there, okay? I think, look, I like Derek Dooley. I think he was I think he's be a good candidate. But I mean, he's stuck in the mud. He's been at 15%, can't get over that. I think that not voting in 2 decades, probably isn't an asset. I don't think it's helping him. But he's just stuck in the mud. And then, you got all the Mike Collins issues going out there. I'm not a fan, as you guys know. So what I did yesterday is I was thinking about this race, right? And you're at 25%. I mean, you just got there, and you're creeping up. But I used to train racehorses, and we used to have these horses, and we call them, I had a couple of them, I call them a railbird. What a railbird is, they don't, they're 6-8 to 1 on the card. They draw an inside post. They got enough speed to get out of the gate and position themselves. They got enough kick at the end if they're in a position to come up the rail, but they're not going to circle the field from the 10 hole. They're not going to have the big kick at the end, but they just stay there. And if they can get a trip on the rail, all of a sudden they win, and they're like 7 or 8 to 1. You're a railbird. I think you're coming up the rail, and nobody really saw this coming. They kind of discounted you, and it was Derek Dooley, Mike Collins, 35%. But now I think you're in the best position to win this thing.
Well, John, thank you. And I appreciate that, because you're absolutely right. You don't want to peak too soon. You want to peak at the right time. And we feel like we're on target to do just that. And we're building momentum as time goes on. And, John, let's keep in mind, and every one of your listeners will agree with this, the most important thing is that we win, that we take this seat back. And in order to do that, we got to put our best candidate forward. Let me tell you, Derek Dooley, as you mentioned, the fact that he has not voted, he may have voted once in the last 20 years. I mean, that's, if you want to use a football analogy, that's like, where's your game film? Where have you been on the practice squad? It's like the coach going up in the stands and saying, hey, come down here. I want you to be my quarterback. Except in this case, he hasn't even been in the stands. He hasn't been in the stadium. He hasn't been paying attention. And that's simply not going to work. And as you mentioned, Mike, unfortunately, has got a lot of baggage. And let me tell you, if Mike Collins is our candidate in the general election, we lose. That's all there is to it.
He's going to lose. I mean, you're looking at this race, and I love our candid discussions. And this is what I love about you, buddy. You and I have always been able to have just an honest, open relationship. And it's one of the great things about you. And also, my love to your wife, lovely woman.
Thank you.
Lovely. And, but look, I mean, Derek, he got in, he was like, what do you call it? The new shiny toy, and, he looked like he could win, and Governor Kemp got behind him. And, I don't discount Governor Brian Kemp's machine. I have a lot of respect for him. I went up against him with Purdue, got the absolute crap kicked out of me. The guy's tough. And so, he had all that going for him. But the fact of the matter is, here we are in January, your primary's in May, and Dooley is just not uncorked. I mean, he's there's no surge there. He's at his 15%. He's got the Kemp chamber votes. I don't know what Kemp is going to do. And then Mike Collins, I don't think can win. I mean, certainly if he's the nominee, support him. But I think of the 3 candidates, he has no chance of winning. That's just my opinion, right?
And I would agree.
I think you got a shot to win this runoff, and I think you're now the only guy that might be able to beat Ossoff.
Well, I would submit that we are, and so many people want to say, oh, we need a fresh new face. And admittedly, listen, I've been doing this a long time. I was a mayor. I was in the state legislature. I've been in Congress. I got a proven record. I can show you what I've done. I can tell you and show you the success that we've had. And we've had quite a bit of success, especially in healthcare. And we got so many more challenges in healthcare to go. But the state of Georgia has done well. We've done exceptionally well, and I'm very proud of our record. You look at my time as mayor. I tell people all the time, the first lesson I learned when I became mayor of the city of Pooler, the fastest growing city in the state of Georgia during the time that I was mayor, the first lesson I learned was how to count to four. Because if I couldn't get to four, I couldn't get anything done. I had to get 4 votes. And I would submit to you that a lot of people in Washington, D.C., they never had to learn to count to 4. They don't know that you got to be able to get things done. And we have gotten things done. And I would submit that that's very important. But again, we come back to the vital point. We have got to replace Jon Ossoff. We've got to put our best candidate forward, and we've got to get rid of him. He does not represent Georgia values. He does not help President Trump and his America First policy. We need someone in the United States Senate from the state of Georgia who's going to support President Trump and his America First policies. I've done that, and I'll continue to do that.
Tell me about the health care bill the Republicans passed that is dead in the water in the Senate. How do we get traction? And if you were in the Senate, would you vote for getting rid of the filibuster if you had the majority?
Well, and I was in favor of that when President Trump was trying and suggested that. As Jimmy said earlier, the filibuster is a double-edged sword. It helps at times, but at other times it really does hurt us. And if we can do it in such a way that we don't do it in a broad sense, if we could do it in such a way that, maybe you could just bypass it at certain times, that would be something I'd be very interested in. But right now, both parties have used it, unfortunately, as a way to stop legislation and stop good legislation.
Good answer. But if you were in the Senate right now, and the vote, and President Trump had a meeting where he had all the senators and said, I want you to kill the filibuster. He had 8 votes. Would you be vote number 9? Yes or no?
Yes, I would.
Thank you. Let's get to you serve on appropriations. Let's get to the potential shutdown on January 31st. Where do you see that going?
Well, first of all, I serve on budget, and listen, we are going to get 3 bills hopefully passed today, and I think we will. We got the rule passed yesterday. Now we're going to vote on the bills today, maybe tomorrow, but we will get them passed. At that time in the House, we will have passed 7 of the 12 that we are required to pass. Now the Senate has already passed 3. They've already gone to the president for his signature. They've still got defense to do. I talked to Senator Kevin Kramer from North Dakota this morning in the gym, and he was saying they're still trying to tweak the defense bill a little bit. We get these 3 done, and he assures me they'll pass them in the Senate. We'll be well on our way. Now, we'll still have 5 left that we've got to get done, and if we can do that, and I think we can, I'm very confident we can, we may have to do another minibus and put them together, or perhaps just a CR for those. Then I think we can avoid the shutdown. The shutdown that the Democrats and Jon Ossoff used to hold our troops, to hold our WIC, our SNAP beneficiaries hostage, and to use them as leverage in order to get what? In order to get health care benefits for illegal immigrants. That we're not going to let that happen. And they wanted to do that, and we stopped that from happening. That's why they lost the shutdown fight the last time, and they'll lose it again this time.
How do you get in the runoff?
Well, you got to get, we just got to keep doing what we're doing and building up momentum and building up people who are supporting us. And we're just very well received all throughout the state. We're going to be in a runoff. There's no question. I don't think any of the 3 of us could get 50+1 and avoid a runoff, but we will be one of the candidates in the runoff. And once that happens, I feel very good about where we're at.
Yeah, I think if I was handicapping your campaign right now, I think you're going to be the outside money here. I think you got a hell of a shot, and really all you have to do in this runoff is come in second, right? You just got to come in second.
That's right.
Yeah, actually, if you look at these runoffs in Georgia, you're actually better off coming in second. Nobody that ever comes in first wins. So right. You need to come in second. It's probably better off. And but I think you got a hell of a shot now. A lot of people say, well, Savannah, there's not enough votes in South Georgia. Who cares? He's got to get Metro Atlanta. They expect Derek Dooley to clean up there with Brian Kemp's PAC. How do you get enough votes in Metro Atlanta in order to get in this runoff?
Well, we have spent most of our time in Metro Atlanta. I've got a condo in Atlanta. I got grandbabies in Atlanta, so I got plenty of reason to be up there. And I have spent an enormous amount of time in Atlanta. And yes, it is very important. You know, someone told me something. We all understand the Atlanta metro area is a Democratic area. Yes, that's a given. But take, for instance, DeKalb County, which is a blue county. It's a Democratic county. However, there are more Republicans in DeKalb County than the top 30 rural Republican counties in the state of Georgia combined, just because of the density. So you got to pay close attention to Atlanta, and we are paying close attention to Atlanta, and we're well received wherever we go throughout the whole area. This weekend I'm going to be home on our home at St. Simon's for 12 hours, and it'll be dark the whole time. But I will tell you, I'll be in Atlanta the rest of the time.
Do you have the backing yet for your colleague in the pharmaceutical caucus, Diana Harshberger?
Oh yes, yes. Diana's helping us, and she's all in. There's no question about that.
What
And what
what
a great duo that would be to have a pharmacist in the House and in the Senate.
Diana Harshbarger's pharmaceutical caucus is going to go down to one if when you leave the Congress. There's nobody else. She'll have a Congress of one. Let's touch on Minneapolis. Riots coming. Do you believe, from what you saw, the ICE agent in question was justified in the self-defense shooting of that woman?
Well, admittedly, I haven't seen a lot yet, and I'm sure there's still a lot to be seen. But at the same time, if someone is using a car as a weapon, remember 9/11, airplanes were the weapons. If someone's using a car as a weapon, then an officer has every right to defend themselves. And again, you know, depending on the footage that the videos that we might see, but I have to tell you, the left has got a violence problem. And they need to understand that this is simply not going to work here in America, and we're not going to tolerate it. We need to have respect for our ICE officers, for our public safety officials, and make sure that they're taken care of and make sure that we're supporting them.
All right, I got a minute and a half. I got to get out, buddy. So I don't run out of time. People want to follow you. Where do they go?
You can go to buddycarter.com, and and you'll find our website there.
Buddycarter.com. Okay. Final thing right here. How deep is this fraud in Minnesota and Ohio? How deep do you think it is?
Deep enough to where Tim Walz needs to go to jail. And I mean, he needs to have handcuffs on him. You know, one of the things that I hear most from our base is that we want to see some of these people arrested. We understand y'all are bringing it to light, but we want to see some consequences. We teach our children that actions have consequences, but it seems like everybody gets off after they're uncovered what they've done. He needs to be in jail. And I'm not going to stop until people are held responsible for their actions.
Let me just tell you that message that you just gave in the last 20 seconds, do you know, I take 20 callers a day, that from around the country. That is the number one issue of almost every caller that I get on this show from across the country is the lack of accountability for the nonsense that's gone on in this country. And they want to see justice and handcuffs come out. And that one statement you made, if you keep saying that, I'm telling you, you are going to motivate the base and you're going to get in this runoff. And I think right now, looking at it, I don't think of the three candidates, I think right now today, you're the only one that I think can win and beat Ossoff. Derek Dooley just hasn't caught fire, and I'm still waiting on it. Maybe he will. So far, he hasn't. Buddy, thanks for being with us. Shout out to your team. Housley's fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
My best to your wife. See you soon for some social lubrication. Michael Patrick Lay is next.